2, 3, 4, 5.
What's that called? Official life.
To the hip, a hop, a hip to the hip, hip hopper. You don't stop the rocket to the bang bang boogie. Say up jump the boogie to the boogie to the boogie to beat. Now what you hear is not a test. I'm rapping to the beat. Me, my friends, and the mic are gonna try to move your feet because I am Jungle Mike and I like to say hello. To the hip, to the hop, to the hand band, but I can't remember the rest. I just know the whole fucking thing.
Should have gone Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
But kind of before we got into your music, I wanted to ask you, kind of remember the first time that you like truly connected with a song, that it like truly had an impact upon you?
It's a very good question. I remember sitting in the back of my dad's car, listening to "It Ain't Me, Babe" by Bob Dylan, and finally realising what what it was about. I'd always heard that chorus and be like, "That's funny." And then you listen to the lyrics in the verse, and it was like this devastating breakup, but from the sort of like the other side of someone. The voice is the breaker-upper. And I thought it was such an interesting way to write a song. I was like, a kid, but usually you only hear the heartbreak side of it. So I think "It Ain't Me, Babe" by Bob Dylan for me.
I think probably when I first saw The Lion King, coupled with the film and stuff, and getting, like, that film's just, I know it's about the music, but the music's such a big part of the film. And I think it's probably the first time I was like, man, I want to be writing scores for Disney films, but here we are at King Tut.
And then can I turn that on its head a little bit? What's like the most memorable reaction that you've had from someone who's connected with your music? And can I go up and spoken to you about that?
We had someone recently that's going to get a lyric of ours tattooed. That's bonkers. It's like, I've got a couple of tattoos, some of which I deeply regret. So the idea that something I wrote halfway through, like a breakup or something, is like someone's getting permanently ingrained on their skin is absolutely terrifying.
Didn't they ask you to write it out?
Yeah, and I hand wrote it as well. So now they've got my fucking terrible handwriting going to be ingrained into their body. That's a bit weird. And someone had God Manchester as they walked down the aisle.
Mm. And even just reading some comments and some people just comment on things saying in any way, like whether it affected them or whether it, they're like amazing as well. It's crazy. So, but the tattoo one's mad. Cause I've been trying to get my head screwed tight, away from people, away from life. I don't know what kind of world I'm from, but it's not this one. No, it's not this one.
This is where you started studying, was it literature and philosophy at uni as well?
Wow, yeah.
Do you think that's kind of had an impact upon the way you write songs and the kind of topics that you discuss sometimes in the music?
To talk about Bob Dylan again, I actually did my dissertation on Bob Dylan. I did it on Blood on the Tracks and the artist within a work. And how it relates to the artist, the sort of the I, the author, and the narrator. So that and I also started getting really shitty marks in my final year because I was going out and getting drunk and playing open mics in New York. So that probably lent itself to it. But I always used to lie and say that I only did English because I was a bit worried about sounding overly pretentious and saying I did a philosophy degree. But then I don't know, it's come background to help a lot. I think it creates a nice space in your head to be able to think about thinking on the philosophy side of it. Definitely, I really like. I'm sort of a lot prouder of the degree I did now.
It's so cruel to say, but I Hope You Lose Your Way was one of those, it's so simple but it's so effective and it's kind of emotional punch. When you write a lyric like that, what kind of like mind space are you in? Are you quite deep in the zone with a songwriting process, or does it kind of just come to you, or how does that kind of...
Yeah, a lyric like that is definitely sort of... When you're writing a song, you really hope to get into this sort of subconscious state where you're completely within the character or the emotion or whatever it is that is inspiring the song. The tone, I think, in that case, is that sort of longing with an element of I don't know. There's a sort of like narcissistic nastiness about it. It's like that guy is sort of wishing ill on someone that he loves, so that they can be his, which always just it's cruel, and he states that in the lyric, but like it's a strange tone to be part of. So yeah, that one just came from sort of like zoning in. It's just one of those lyrics that it didn't seem like much when I first wrote it, I think, and then like you look back and you're like, oh yeah, shit, I must have been in a weird place when I wrote that lyric. But yeah, there you go. It's it just sort of comes out of sometimes the darker places, you know, but I can say it's within a character, so it's allowed.
So not all your songs are written from your perspective? Do you sometimes write from like characters' perspective?
Yeah, definitely. I've always found that really interesting. I didn't realise you could do that until I listened to a band called the Mountain Goats, and then I found out that they've released 2 albums where he sings about his own experiences, and the rest is all made up. The rest is just him imagining stories, and I was like, oh right. So like a lot of my favourite fiction writers, you can use those methods and techniques to be able to tell a story. That's bonkers. But like the emotion is always true. The better, I always think that the truer the emotion to you, the better the song, the better the feeling of it is going to be. So you can use fictitious elements to be able to tell something real, you know.
Yeah. I mean, both of you, do you find that you learn things from music, and the music that you write and the music that you create, does it teach you things about yourself at all in that process?
Yeah, especially songs like that. It teaches you that you're not perfect. Lyrically anyway, but yeah, I think because you're always sort of mining within yourself. You're always, if you're constantly writing or creating or anything like that, you're going to strange parts of your psyche which you wouldn't have dug from otherwise if you hadn't gone there. You can't just do that like sitting around playing video games like I used to do. You have to, you know, actually actively go out and start mining away at these thoughts, you know. So that's, yeah, I don't know about you.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. I think you have, especially from the way that you write a lot, you have to, I think, probably consider parts of yourself that you don't particularly, you might shut out otherwise. If you know, that's my take on it. Could be wrong, but I think that's what loads of great writers do, isn't it? They, you know, and then dress it up as it's someone else's feelings. And we all really know, don't we? It's told me a lot about Sam.
It's a character. There is no Sam Griffiths.
And so much of your music is so personal and intimate, and you know, like the way it's written. When you guys are heading out on the road so much and working in the studio, has it become like tougher to kind of maintain like personal lives and life outside the band? Does that become harder like the bigger you kind of get?
Yeah, we're not at a stage now where we can't go outside, but it is. It's become a little more demanding. We quit our day jobs and things like that to be able to record the album. So things like that's just a really great feeling more than anything. There's less of a strain on it. That's more a rewarding experience. The only thing I ever wanted to do as a kid was be able to make a living as a musician, and then that happened this year. So now, no fucking idea what I'm going to do. That's it. That's me done. I'm all out of ideas now.
Well, I think as well, it does, but it also makes, like, when you do go like back home and stuff, and you, I don't know, go to your local pub or, I don't know, do whatever, have your mates around or whatever, it makes it even better, you know, don't you? You know, because it's like anything, you take it for granted when it's there all the time. But also, playing in band's mint, Cry Me a River, it's not that bad, right?
Yeah.
You know? Not going to sit and complain about it.
And were there other things that have kind of been unveiled to yourself as you've kind of progressed in the music industry that you didn't expect, and, you know, misconceptions that maybe you
As
had?
in within the industry, sorry?
Yeah.
Yeah, loads. But then there's loads of stuff that you go, I think a lot of it's not that you didn't know it was there, it's that you didn't believe it, if you know what I mean. It's not that you're like, oh my god, that's actually true. Like, that's, I'm not going to like go into loads of it, but there's bits where you're like, but you've just got to try and surround yourself with good people. And, you know, we haven't gone like any, and I'm not belittling anyone who does, but we haven't gone any quick route into what we're doing. We've gigged for like a long time, and our first tour, our manager basically said, you can either go, everyone thinks you go to London, don't they? You know, that's the kind of idea. So we did the opposite and did a tour of the Highlands, because we're like, you know, want to go off and do his own thing. And
now we've got a fan base in Orkney.
Yeah. But I think because we've done it that way around, we've surrounded ourselves with good people, you know, and because we've taken your time with it and stuff. But yeah, there's loads of nonsense within it, but there's loads of good people as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just separating them.
Yeah. In Chinese Godmaster Bridge, I mean, I've read the story on that online from where that come from. I'm sure everyone else has.
Oh.
But where's the strangest place you've taken inspiration from? Because that was a really interesting story. So where other places have you taken interest and inspiration from?
We have a song that we're going to be playing tonight actually called "The Only Boy Racer Left on the Island," which is about a boy racer we saw last time we were on Orkney. It was just like, I don't know, where I'm from, usually if there's boy races about, they're usually speeding around with a bunch of mates, or there's loads of mates in the car.
It's very much a group activity.
Yeah, and you're trying to impress other people, and there's like this strange sense of masculinity about it, that you're trying to prove something. But we just saw this one guy just speeding round and around the island over and over again, always overtaking our van, and I was like, that's the most beautiful, strangest thing I've ever seen. So yeah,
and we can't go anywhere, can we? There's only so many
Yeah, exactly. It's just all really limited, just on Kirkwall, just on the mainland. So the song is about that. It's about all the sort of like loneliness that goes with that when all of your friends have moved away, and like you're, you're that boy no more. It's like he was a guy like in his late 20s, but still speeding around like chasing after ghosts.
And he'll never know.
He'll never know.
We're gonna shoot a really weird Fast and Furious style video for it, based on Orkney.
2 million budget.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel.
I do want to ask about the Highlands tour, sorry, as well. I mean, what was it like? What kind of venues were you playing in? What was the atmosphere
We've done it twice now. Yeah.
The first one was the first tour we ever did, so it was like, I think at least a couple of the gigs were, it was like not even playing to the man and his dog, like just the dog.
Yeah.
We were just playing to a small dash and.
If anything, worried about the dog.
Yeah.
But
it was really weird. But then a couple of the gigs were amazing because I think we'd released God Manchester by that point, and so a couple of people had turned up to that. But the strangest one was on Orkney. I know we keep coming back to it, but it's really dear to us
because we love it.
Because they're packed out. The first time we ever came there, like 100 people turned up to this show. Just because they like the look of the poster, they like the name of the band.
The venue's great. It's called the Sound Archive as well, and but yeah, it was such a good experience because also since that we get the tours we've done are just they're great as in the venues, but the drives and stuff are boring as out. But that as an introduction to touring, driving through the Highlands, in this things upgraded slightly. I'm only going to say slightly, but then we lent my stepdad's van that only just fit all of us in with all our stuff.
R.I.P.
Yeah. His nickname the Beast. The van, not my stepdad, the van. And, we did it in that, and it was amazing. It was like, what a way to go and see stuff. And I don't think any of us had spent any vast time in the Highlands or anything, so it was all new. And it was just great. And then we stayed in some mental places, like promoters' bedroom, like a house flat thing.
Xbox squat.
Yeah,
I think it's fair to say.
And then,
yeah, it's very strange.
All over the place. It was really fun.
Yeah, but it was definitely a very fun and interesting way to start a touring lifestyle, you know.
And then we went again because we were we're basically trying and get it off. Sadly, we're only doing Glasgow on this tour, but we try and get it put in as much as possible because we love it, and it's a place that doesn't seem to get that many artists going up there because it's so far to go. So if you can get a few dates and put a few things together,
and be prepared to spend 8 hours in the van,
yeah.
Then yeah.
But if you're a band starting out, that's one way to go because then any drive after that seems easy as well.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, it's easy.
And you did mention, Godmaster at the start of that answer. When you released that song, obviously it's done really well. Did you notice it have quite a big impact upon the band? Did it have quite an immediate impact, or was it more over time?
Yeah, no, it got added to a playlist called The Most Beautiful Songs in the World. So my mum finally knew I'd made it. But it was bonkers how that was the first thing we'd ever released and people cottoned onto it. But yeah, I always knew that we had to start whatever band we were going to do, whatever project it was going to be, start with the right song. And I thought a song called God Manchester Chinese Bridge, whatever it is going to sound like, it's like that's a pretty good opening into what we're going to sound like, the narrative, the stories and stuff like that. So, and people cottoned onto it. It's like, it's made an impact, and I'm absolutely chuffed. and I can't imagine us ever stopping playing that song, or at least not for a good while. It's the one people know us for, but I'm sort of like happy about that because it allows us to expand around it. It's got I don't think it's particularly straight down the line, and it means that we can build the rest of a set around it, but they're not all miserable waltzes about bridges in the Midlands.
And obviously we spoke a bit about the Highlands tour. But you've kind of spoken a wee bit in the past as well about not wanting to kind of play stadiums maybe, but you still have played, you know, decent sized venues to like hundreds of people. Is it kind of hard readjusting to normal life sometimes when you're on stage and hundreds of people like adore you and then suddenly you're back, you know?
It's strange. It's I don't know if there's a readjustment. It is weird to like constantly be thinking that this tour is coming up and like next week we're playing Scala, which is the biggest headline show we have ever done, and then we played a festival in the Netherlands recently called Lowlands, and it's like played to like 4,000 people. It was like
biggest without
it was
doubt,
crazy, and then we got to meet some of our heroes and stuff like that. But at the same time, we're still like 4 giddy children wandering between these weird things, like wondering why we got put onto a playlist however many years ago, and it's led to all this. So I don't know if it's clocking on or clocking off, or it's just pinching ourselves.
Well, I also think like just the sort of type of people we are, we'll probably never stop thinking we're just being chances.
Yeah.
You know, like that the Lowlands one that Sam mentioned was just like how to blag my way into here, like, you know. But it was meant. But then equally you come, because we're in a weird stage as a band where you play, you know, you can play 100 cap venue, then you can play a festival to loads of people. So it's not like we're at one set level, if you know what I mean. So it's just fun, isn't it? Gets you out the house.
Gets you out the house.
And to round off, kind of following on from that, what one album do you always come back to help wind down after a big show or wind down after a big tour to help you relax?
Good. As in a group one or just individually?
Individual, yeah.
Oh, that's difficult.
It really depends. Maybe it depends on the tour. Yesterday, our one day off after recording, I listened to Big Thief, the second Big Thief record. I don't know. Yeah, something about acoustic music with like lovely stories settles me down after putting our heads in, you know, studio land and plugging weird little wires into each other. Sometimes it is just nice to hear Adrian Lenker on a guitar.
Yeah, or something like that, or maybe like Bon Iver, something he's done. Just that kind of, you know, something like an audio hug.
Yeah.
You just feel safe in the comforting arms of Justin.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
That's fair.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Nice one.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for the
you.
questions.